everyone, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are joined by the one and only psychic Robin.
Hey, hey, everybody. How are you doing? Hope your week is going well.
I was just saying, there is just, I don't know, there's like an energy out there that everyone I know is in a mood, and I'm not so sure that I'm not in a mood. I think
Well,
I
I have
think I'm in a
to
mood too, is basically
confess.
what I'm saying. Yes.
uh, well, I'm going to confess that I'm in a crap mood too. It's this alignment that just happened. Energy levels are kind of all over the place. It's actually kind of like a Mercury retrograde on crack.
Yeah.
It is insane. The energy, the waves that we're getting right now, the Shimmick resonance is really off the charts. So people are going to get headaches. Anything to do with the head and the stomach area is really going to be forefront right now. People are going to be pissy. They're going to not feel well. Um, you're going to see a lot of arguing. So people, if you are feeling this, just take a day to yourself, meditate, spend some time with family, and leave the rest of the world behind closed doors. It's my
I
suggestion.
have been argumentative, and a friend of mine even sent a thing that she found about if you are going to send an email in this period of time, just send it to yourself for 48
Yes.
hours. And I'm like, well, sweetie, that is unfortunately, it's too late for that. So, yeah, everyone is on
Aw,
edge. People are
it
on
is.
edge. They really are. They really
Yeah.
are. Well,
Well,
this is,
and
yeah.
I just have to say something. One good thing about this time period is nothing is hidden. So if you want to know something about somebody, really look. Open your heart. Don't bring any of the ego in for yourself and look because you're going to see the true nature of people during this time frame.
Really. Okay. So that's good advice. Well, everyone, this is why they should go to the psychic source now because the first reading is still $20 for 35 minutes with code Velvet. And for everyone who has the first reading that wants a second reading, you get 50% off. So if you pay $50, you get $25 for free. And if you pay $30, you get 15 minutes for free. So it's a good time to get a reading. A lot of people have been telling me
Amazing.
that they have been getting readings and they have been loving their readings.
I am so happy. I had a couple of advisors reach out and said that they had heard your show and and they were just very, I just have to say your people are really, really nice and they listen, which is fantastic. But anyway, we just want to say thank you to you, David, and to your audience because you guys are really great. Like you're great to read for. I love that.
My audience is engaged and
Hmm.
yeah, they're nice. They're nice.
They are
They're nice to
sweet.
lots of people. Sometimes people get upset with me, but majority, my core audience loves being here at Behind the Velvet Rope. So that's good. I'm glad that they are enjoying their time at the
They
Psychic
they
Source.
are. And we are too.
Okay,
We love
good. So
it.
everyone needs to use code Velvet. Well, I want to talk about this happened like a week or two ago. There's a franchise of housewives called The Real Housewives of New York City, and there is a woman and we're kind of winding down the season. We're finishing the reunion just finished. So there is a woman named Bryn Whitfield on the season. Now she is born February 7th, 1986. I guess before I get into anything, are you feeling anything for this Bryn Whitfield? Are you getting any?
Well, the first thing that I saw, I actually didn't hear it this time, folks. I saw it, um, was the door closing. So that tells me that there is something pretty major in her life that is coming to an end. Um, when I look at her, it's like a little bit of a roller coaster. Like she's going to have to fight for what she wants because either no, they're basically saying she did something like so, there was something a little underhanded that went on. Anyway, a door's closed. She's going to have to fight to pry it back open if she really wants it. I have a feeling that she's probably not going to say she can't because we can all do what we want to, right? If you fight hard enough and you work hard enough, but there's a lot of people against her. Like there's a line of people, and she's going to have a hard time penetrating that.
Wow.
She,
You know,
she's screwed up.
Wow. People like I find I've been told when embarking on this journey with you guys that I was told, which I never really knew, that there's like a third of the people completely believe in psychics, a third of the people just don't, and then there's a third in the middle. And I would like to say for everyone in the middle, like these questions are not preordained. There's no cheat sheet. That is literally 100% what is going on with this woman, Bryn. Like 100%. So I think she's going to be fired from the franchise. I think it's
Hmm.
99.9% sure that that's what's happening to her. She, there's another woman, Uba Hassan, who she's been accusing. Look, Uba said some things about Bryn, like you basically slept your way onto the show and you're on the show because you slept your way there. Bryn admitted a few weeks ago, she said, I can't believe Uba would say these things knowing what happened to me in my past. And she revealed that she was like sexually taken advantage of in her past. And it turns out, it's a long story, but it turns out this woman, Uba, didn't know these things. She never told her. Or if she told her, she didn't. So it's like she basically made this whole story up, and her whole cast is upset with her, and the franchise is upset with her, and they are casting for other people. So that is really so when you say door closing, like I don't know for sure she's going to be fired. Anything is possible. But when you see a door closing, I mean, I
That's
don't know
pretty
what else it
tough.
could be.
Well, and just let me just say this about Brian, and I'm sorry, what was the other lady's name?
Uba Hassan. She was born
Uba.
8/27/83.
Well, I feel like, well, first of all, there is deception, which you already said. So there was a little deception there. I will say that I think that there's always truths, right? Like if somebody's spreading a rumor or they're talking, there's always, I always say about a 10% truth in what you're hearing. The 90% is people adding to or taking away from. I don't think that Brienne slept her way into, now I'm not saying she didn't sleep with anybody, her business, not mine, but I don't think she slept her way to get there. However, Brienne and please, no, just I usually always say, please forgive me when I say this, but don't forgive me because it just is what it is. She needs to grow up a little bit. Like emotionally, I feel like she probably is a little stunned because of some of the sexual abuse and stuff that had happened. So I think that just hit her really hard, and I think she's spinning out of control. I say let her fall and then walk herself back up because, like you said, she could. They wouldn't have shown me the door, and the people, if there was absolutely no, they would have just said she's gone. So there is a small percentage that she could keep her job. But as the psychic, I'm going to say I am probably 98% that she's going to have to leave.
I mean, what about this woman, Uba? I mean, they might be changing around more than just Bryn in the cast. One thing has nothing to
Yeah.
do with the other. Do you see anything with her?
Uh, I'm just going to say it. Don't really like her energy. Like, I feel like, not saying I wouldn't like her as a person, but energetically speaking, she is manipulative. And I'm sure that if you're on a reality TV show, you kind of have to be that way to stay cast because it looks good, and I freaking get it. But with her, it is backstabbing, it is lying, apparently, and I kind of think they're going to keep her.
I could see
I think
that.
they're going to keep her because I don't feel like if there wasn't drama, there wouldn't be a show. And
Yeah,
she brings some drama. And I feel like that she's got that personality. It's almost narcissistic like. I'm not a doctor, so I can't say she's a narcissist, but I can say she has narcissistic like tendencies, and they can be very charming, super charming. So I think they'll probably keep her. Now she may get reprimanded or whatever, talked to, but I think they'll keep her.
yeah, and her, I'm not sure. I mean, that's good to hear. I mean, her energy is she blows up a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where you feel there's some negative energy.
Yeah, it's just a little, get yourself together, but um I think they'll keep her. Actually, I think that they'll yes, I'm getting a hell yes. So I'm going to say they're probably going to keep her.
Okay. Moving on to some other people, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Some of these people we've talked about before, but things happen and things are happening. So, Kyle Richards, I don't know if we've ever talked about her. I feel like we have. She was born January 11th, 1969. And she has a friend, Dorit Kemsley, who was born 7/14/76. So 1/11/69 and 7/14/76. Now, are you getting any reads on these two together, separately?
Well, I feel like and I think I have read for Kyle for sure because that energy is pretty um like I feel like I've felt it before. But okay, so with her, like there's some big changes coming. Um Actually, I see her walking away from something. Um Now she may make a loop, she may come back, but it looks like she's kind of walking away. Who was the other female? What was her name?
Dorit Kemsley, 7/14/76.
Dorit. Um, First thing that I get w with Dorit is I don't see her like, are they friends or something? Like, what is that? What was the chemistry beforehand?
And by the way, Kyle, I think the loop, I mean, she did make a loop in the sense that she walked out of a scene recently, which this was filmed months ago, but she walked out of a scene which just aired and she quit the show basically, but then came back, which
Oh,
there's no
okay.
shock that all of this, I believe, happened, within a 24 to 48-hour period, but she did quit to come back. They were friends per se. There's questions about whether they were real friends or not, which is what I was going to ask you, or show friends.
I feel like show friends. Now, I think that Dorit, I mean, to be honest with you, I love Kyle's energy. Like I know I can feel like it can be a little explosive, but I really like her energy a little bit. Like I can hang with her. Which says a lot. But Dorit, on the other hand, I feel like there's a little okay, so it's like she was trying to skirt a little bit off of Kyle. I would say Kyle's probably a little more popular than Dorit is. So there was some of that, but definitely just show friends. But Kyle, if you listen to this, Dorit is not your friend. Watch out because there is some conniving crap going on behind the scenes.
And you think that Dorit is more conniving to Kyle than Kyle is to
No,
Dorit?
no, no, I did not say that because Kyle um, can get what she wants. Kyle can get what she wants, and she knows how to maneuver through obstacles pretty well. Um, I feel like she doesn't need to with Dorit because Dorit is down here and she is up here. But has Kyle talked crap about her? Absolutely. Has she done things to try to knock her off track? Absolutely. Probably more behind the scenes, but Dorit is out to really shake Kyle's world. Like she needs to watch herself. Although I don't think it'll affect Kyle. I mean, it will affect Kyle. Kyle has a tender heart. Even though she may not show it, she's got a real tender heart, and when people come at her, it actually bothers her more than she allows herself to show it.
But
So
you feel like the root of, yes, I mean, a lot of that is what's happening
the
between them, but you feel like the root of this quote unquote friendship, and I'm saying that with air quotes, that they're not real friends. I don't want to
not
lead
real
you.
friends.
I've been accused of leading questions lately. I mean, on the Real Housewives of Salt
Okay,
Lake, I was accused of that. So
so first of all, you know you do not lead me.
okay.
Um, I couldn't be led if you tried.
Okay,
Second of
good.
all, yes, no, their friendship is not real. It is mask. It is masked with opportunities and some deception and deceit.
And what about there is a woman, Erika Jane. Now she is related to these two. She was, well, friends, not related, but she was born 7/10/71. So she is kind of in the middle. She is friends with both of them. Like, will she remain unscathed, when two friends are having a falling out? Like, I always like to
Right.
say, your enemy is not my enemy. Like, I'm good with both of you. This doesn't always work that way, though, right? So, like,
No, it doesn't.
can she remain unscathed? And does she have a allegiance? Does she lean towards one side if push came to shove?
Okay, say her first name one more time.
Erica Jane. Erica is her first name.
You know, honestly, I see it split down the middle. Um, I feel like she truly is trying to be friends with both Kyle and Dorit. I think if push came to sh it would be tough on Erica. Like I feel like it would be tough on her. However, drum roll, I feel like she would probably lean a little more towards Dorit.
That's good to
Sorry.
know. No,
It,
I'm just taking it all in. I mean, what
it would take a
Dorit?
lot though. Dorit. Okay, so here's the thing about Dorit. Dorit, I don't want to say she's not a bad person per se. She's got some tendencies that seem to be a little sharp. But she also plays the victim very well. So I would say that's probably why that would happen.
Right. Like if she had a kind of lean towards one, it would be Dorit.
Yeah, because Dory can't take care of herself, but Kyle can.
Kyle can definitely take care of herself.
Yeah, I love her energy.
She has energy. She has good energy.
She does. I bet she meditates often. Or does something to balance herself because every time this is I think the second or third time we've talked about her, and every time her energy, even though there's chaos going around her, it's almost like the phoenix walking out of the fire. There's a big explosion behind her and she walks out and her hair looks good and her face looks good and she's just walking out unscathed.
Interesting.
Love
And Dorit's a little underhanded, but also
Dorit's a little underhanded. Now, again, you get a bunch of catty women together. I just kind of feel like Dorit is more follow the crowd, and Kyle is more, forge her own way. So you've got an alpha, and you got one who wants to be alpha. So it's a cat fight.
so it's a cat fight.
Hmm.
Okay, that's very interesting. What about these two people are not on Real Housewives? Their
Hmm.
names are Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag. Now, Spencer was born 8/14/83,
Hmm.
and Heidi was born 9/15/86. Now they are together, but what type of vibe do you get from the two of them?
Well, first of all, okay, so when you said Spencer, um, truly, truly kind of like his vibe. Like I feel like he is for the most part pretty honest with his emotions for the most part. Heidi, though, there's a little something there that just doesn't feel right to me. Like I feel like she may be looking elsewhere. I feel like there's been a little turbulent water. Spencer's the type that can hang on for the most part. Heidi, though, she's a little more cutthroat. So I don't know what to say about that. Like the two doesn't seem like it goes together in the puzzle piece. Um, do I feel like they will work it out or be able to move through some stuff? I will. A lot of changes in April, May, and June for them. So that will be either they're going to stay together or they're not. Like those 3 months are super important for them to do that. But did they are so you said they're not on the Real Housewives. They have a show, though they're on some show
They
or what?
had a show. It was called The Hills. So they kind of their height of their popularity was like they've been married for 15 years. The height of their popularity was in like the early 2000s.
Mm.
And they had been married for 15 years. And you're getting a vibe of April, May, or June for them as like
Yeah,
a
I just feel like there's it seems to be a little turbulent energy in the marital part of things. Um, I feel like there may be some financial, like they've had a couple of financial bloops or blunders that have caused a little tension. And quite honestly, I just think they probably need to spice up their marriage. Like, you know how when you've been with somebody for so long, it feels a little stale. Heidi's getting a little itchy, like she needs something. Um, and quite frankly, she probably needs attention, not necessarily from him, but from everybody around them. And I feel like she's probably not getting it. I'm seeing some split energy, meaning they've had some major issues. Probably, but honestly, like around money, like around
Well,
financial stuff.
well, their house did just burn down. They are in the Palisades, so
Holy
they're a
crap.
part of that. So that, they've been together. They've always been in the public eye. Again, like the height of their fame was back in the early 2000s. I don't think that they have, a ton of money, like they've done
Right.
okay for themselves, but they weren't really making a ton before the house burned down. Now
Mhm.
yeah, they're going through some things. Now they have put themselves out there. They've kind of almost become the face of the LA fires. Like they have
Oh,
made money from it, like online. And she has an album that's 15 years old that's now back in the top of the charts. And all of this is kind of Spencer doing this. And like they've gotten more press in the past 4 weeks than they have probably in the past 4 years. Like it's kind of like a resurgence of Spencer and Heidi, which they're called Spidey. That's what they're called. They've always been called that. So money, when you see money issues, maybe you're laughing at Spidey, but this really is what they're called. It's okay to it's they, they
it's
were
fun.
one of the, well, everyone has a name now. They're kind of,
Right, right,
they
right.
really started a lot of things. They used to call the paparazzi on themselves and then have the paparazzi take pictures and then sell the pictures. It's really like, so they would say, well, this is where we're going to be.
It is
And
genius.
then they would sell it for like whatever, and they would get a portion of the money. So which happens now, but they kind of started that. Spencer kind of started that whole thing. So they kind of are pioneers in the reality TV space who don't really get the credit that they deserve, but they're kind of having a moment now. I don't know, maybe when you say that you foresee issues coming up more from Heidi, maybe it is, listen, a lot of times it happens on Housewives where you have a marriage and then when you get into the public eye, things happen in your marriage, not it's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it
I
causes it, but
do.
there are people that change when they're in the public eye. Now, they have been in the public eye, but maybe being back in the public eye is going to affect Heidi more than Spencer in a way where she's going to want to go see the world. I don't know. That seems to be what you're saying.
Well, I feel like that's more of a possibility than just a probability. Um, okay, so here's kind of what I feel like. Like I understand that they're having this like resurgence, which is great for them. Not real happy that they're doing it during the fire. Like to me, that feels a little explorative, but we're in today's world, so that's just normal. Unfortunately. But I feel like it's really good. Like there is probably some things that come up for them because of kind of what's going on. But and too, I'm telling you, this fire, I'm a little concerned their home. Um, I feel like there is something like I don't know if their insurance wasn't up to date, but it feels big. Like there's going to be a big thing, which is probably why they continue to try to get in the public eye. I do kind of feel like I don't know. I think Heidi's probably going to take it and run with it, and I think he will too. But they're going to have to get their money situation squared away. It's almost like I see it coming and then I see it drop. So that to me means like they could have an opportunity, but then don't get the opportunity, which causes the issues.
Interesting. Maybe it's TV. Like it's
Yeah.
really hard to get a TV show like just being back in so maybe like,
Hmm.
look, they're certainly pursuing things because that is Spencer's personality, which it
Gig.
should be, right? Like go for
Yeah.
it. But maybe that's what you're seeing, like that they get
Yeah.
close to a TV show, but I mean,
and it
you know
falls
how
out.
many people get close to a TV show in this town on a daily basis? It means apps. I tell people, people are like, I'm going to be this. I'm like, did you sign a contract? Did they sign a contract? Is there a film date? Have you started filming? Is there a network? Then call me and we can talk about excitement.
Exactly.
Short of
Well,
that,
it's that whole thing. I've got a couple of friends who work in the industry, and I've always been told that if like you'll hear people talking and they say like, "Oh, this director called me or this person called me and we did an interview and we're going to do this, we're going to do that," but they're waiting for funding. If they say that, just go on. Just go
yeah,
on because it's yeah, that's like as my grandmother would say spitting in the wind.
yeah.
Until it lands, you don't know where it's coming. But God bless them because I do think that the end for Spencer and Heidi at the end of this year, they're going to get some good news. I do think they'll make it through this rough patch, but it's a financial, like I'm going to say probably financial stress more than they've had to deal with as a couple before. So it's going to be pretty intense. They'll come out of it. Everybody, don't panic. They'll come out of it. They'll be fine. But at the end of this year, I do still see them on some type of show. Like they will have something. I don't necessarily feel like it's going to be this year. They may know the end of next year. But there's going to be a couple of little bumps along the road where somebody says, "Hey, let's do this," and like you said, it gets right there, and then it turns into nothing. It's a big nothingness. But if they'll just hang on, and he is smart, he is super smart. He'll be able to, and she is too. I mean, her energy's great too. She just seems a little more laid back than him.
And no, they didn't have insurance, and they're also suing the state of LA and others for, you know, a lot of
Multiple
things.
reasons.
Yeah, I think I don't know what the exact causes of action. I think like negligence and not having water to put out the fires and all of that stuff. But they are suing LA, and there might be other plaintiffs with them, but they are leading the charge. So maybe look, that's certainly expensive if you're paying for lawyers
Well,
if
it's
they're not
very
doing it.
expensive.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm just gonna leave that with this. As horrible as what's going on in California, and it is. I mean, we've psychic source. I know plenty of psychics who we have been praying for California, but um, karma's a bitch. Let me just say that when you use something to exploit somebody or something, it will come back and bite you in the butt. So, anyway, I will leave it
There's
with that,
there
David.
has been a lot of criticism of Spencer. A lot of people are like, get your bag, and a lot of others are like, it's a fine line between that and now you're exploiting this. So you're not
Yeah,
the
it
only
does
one.
feel very explore. I don't like it. I mean, everybody needs to make money, right? Like we have to kind of eat and stuff, and that's great. But I think that there comes a point to where you have to say no to something if you're hurting other people or if you are using tragedy to try to become famous. That's but like I said, let's sit back and watch Karma because
You're feeling some karma coming.
I'm feeling a little bit of karma just coming. I think that's the March, April, May time frame for them. They're either going to make it or they're going to break it. You know, you can't exploit other people like that. The universe does not look kindly on it. Just saying.
Interesting. Well, we also have the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which that franchise just ended for this season. And this one woman, Heather Gay, now let's just put her aside for she came up with this game at the end. This is to try to break it down and start over. Let's take our phone and let's think of the worst thing that we ever said about any of the people sitting here. Just pick one person, pick the worst thing you said, and hand your phone to that person to then read what you said about them. Now, I don't know what world this would be a good game in, but
It's not a good.
it's not a good game, right?
No.
So the game was played, and certain people's texts were somewhat innocent. And then others, there's this woman, Lisa Barlow. She was born December 14th, 1974. And she and this other woman, Whitney Rose. Whitney was born 9/28/86. So, like, when it was Whitney's turn, she could have picked anyone, but the worst text in her phone about any of the ladies sitting with her was about Lisa. And it involved the fact that she said that, someone propositioned her and her husband at a party and said, if you guys ever want a threesome, Lisa Barlow can give me a good referral because I had a threesome with her and her husband. Now Lisa went absolutely crazy because she's like, you're insinuating that my husband and I have threesomes, which we don't. This is Salt Lake and Mormon County, so just let's just put that all out. So this is just one example. I mean, so are things going to be okay? I mean, all the other women, there's a lot of other, this woman, Meredith, she had issues with this woman, Angie, believe it or not. Our podcast was kind of in the middle of that based on an interview we did, whatever. And then this woman, Bronwyn, but like Lisa, I guess if we just want to pick an example, this cast left completely fractured because they all heard these horrible things about each other. But like if you
Right.
take Lisa and Whitney as an example, I mean, Lisa went crazy, like that. You're basically saying my husband, and Whitney got very upset because Lisa got up and then walked out. And the others there were like, well, you talk about my marriage, you talk about my marriage. Lisa talks about our marriage. There's a double standard. I mean, but we can't talk about Lisa's marriage. So are Lisa and Whitney going to be okay? Is the show going to be okay? Can we come back from this? Because it ended in a disaster between them all.
Well, okay. So first of all, I do think we're coming back. It's coming back. I don't stress yourself. I do kind of think that they'll be okay. Well, there's still going to be a little drama over it. I don't know why Whitney gets so, tied up in a knot about that because I feel like maybe it was because it was public, not because she didn't come to them privately, if you catch my drift.
Is your drift that maybe there are three songs in Lisa's
Oh yeah,
marriage?
absolutely. I kind of when you started talking about the whole crew, not saying anything about, Mormons or anything
Right.
like that, but these people feel feisty, like they feel crazy, like I feel like they're behind the doors is probably another show on its own. Just
I
saying.
mean, you get a vibe like that from a lot of these women on the show, not to stereotype about Salt
Yeah.
Lake but so you think what there could be some truth to that with Lisa Barlow and her marriage, but she's
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. Yes, there absolutely is. It's funny. I want people to remember this. How you can tell when somebody is lying is when they get over dramatic about what you're saying. So if somebody blows up like that and runs out of the room and slams the door and it causes all kinds of chaos, you can almost guarantee that 90% of what was coming out of somebody's mouth was probably true. So, with
That's a
that
good
being
point.
said, yes, so that she just was, I think, upset because it was said publicly.
Interesting. That's a good point. I mean, well, not to bring it back to Kyle Richards who we talked about, but there was this whole thing where she sent a text to Dorit's in a separation from her husband PK, and
Hmm.
her and Kyle and PK were texting, and Dorit found out, the other ladies found out, and Dorit got upset. I think rightfully so. And Kyle was like, well,
Hmm.
all I did was send him jokes and memes. And then the other ladies were like, read the text. And Kyle went crazy. Also, in a way, rightfully so. Like you want me to actually, it is a little bit insulting if I tell you I
Yeah, yeah.
texted and they're like, read the text. But I mean, she went insane, and everyone's like, well, she read the text and it wasn't just jokes and memes, and people are like, so really she just lied to us. And then this is when she quit, to bring it back to that. That is when she walked off and she went so crazy. And it's like, but she was lying and she's going so crazy to deflect from what's actually happening here. You were caught in a lie. You're texting your quote unquote friends. Ex. She wasn't interested in him romantically. It just is like a breach of like girl code. So
Right.
to your point, I guess that is the same as Lisa storming out of the
Yeah.
final scene, like you say,
Yep.
that if there's truth to it, you go crazy. Because if someone's saying something so absurd about yourself that's a lie, you're just like, yeah, sure. We have
Right, right.
threesomes, foursomes, swinging from the chandeliers, whatever, because it's just so not true.
Yeah, it's so well, and you know that's just every day, folks. Like when you're dealing with somebody, if they are off the chart upset, like if your man is saying no, you can't see his phone, he throws a big fit. There's probably because there's something on the freaking phone. I mean, it's just
It's just what it
nature.
is.
It
Yeah.
is just nature. It's human nature.
I didn't think of it like that. Well, now I have a picture going on about Lisa and John Barlow in my head that I cannot get out of my head, which
Sorry.
isn't even the worst picture. They both are attractive, and so I'm not so opposed to that picture, but it's there now.
You're
Well,
welcome.
I know. Well, thank you for that. I mean, I do. Anything else you want to leave us with before any just words of
Oh,
wisdom as people get through this strange
okay.
energy this week?
It is really strange, folks, and it's probably going to go on for a couple of more weeks. Be kind with your words, think before you speak, meditate, and remember this too shall pass. It is just a part of life. You got to learn to deal with it. Stay indoors, watch movies, don't pick up the phone, and do not send an email unless you reread, and reread.
Yes, that is the one that I like to I get upset and I'm like sent and it's like, well, I just set a whole bunch of things in motion over here, but oh well.
Yeah,
But
yeah, not a
I
good
agree with
idea.
that. Not a good idea. And I'm always a proponent for staying indoors. So I agree. And
Yes.
everyone could download the Psychic Source app. And if you enter code VELVET, your first reading is $20 for 35 minutes. And I think we talked about this before. If you don't like the reading you are getting, you click reading now, then you can stop it because the 35 minutes is a bank. So if you use 3 minutes and you're not feeling it, you said 3 minutes, you have
Right.
32 minutes left. Just speak up and just say to your psychic, I'm so sorry. I want to end this
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. There is absolutely no shame in that because I mean you're ultimately paying for it and you want something that where you're going to connect. And if people don't always connect. So if you don't feel that connection in 3 minutes, tell the psychic thank you, you appreciate it, and hang up the phone. We do not get offended or upset by that at all. Well,
It's like a
most of us.
therapist. Have you ever gone
It
to a
is.
therapist where you're just like, not for me, and then you go to another one, and then your third one, you're like, oh, such a
This is pretty
great
good.
fit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really feel, and all the psychics are good. If you want to go to Psychic Robin, you have an extension,
Yeah.
right?
I do, but I've got
I can
walking
share
pneumonia, and for
it.
the life of me, I
It's okay.
cannot think of it.
I will share it. They can just type in your name,
Yeah.
ROBBIN, but all the psychics
Hmm.
are good. You have to click psychic now. Do not schedule it for the future because then you do not get the code. You
Right.
do not get the discount, and $20 is unheard of. So, well, you will be back. You have to keep in touch. I really
I
appreciate
will. I
you.
will.
I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Just
Well, I
stay in and take your
appreciate
own
you.
advice. Stay off
I, I,
email, stay off the phone, and just stay
I
in.
am totally going to do it. Watch movies and cuddle is my plan.
I love it. So keep in touch and we'll talk.
Okay, bye-bye.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.